Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Coach U podcast, where we interview experts. Today in the studio, we have Danny Leibrandt, and he runs Full Funnels, a digital marketing agency that services home service businesses. And in the last few weeks, Danny and I have seen a lot of broken home service businesses. We've done audits together. We've spoken at conferences. We've been teaching other agencies, the people that you probably are spending money with. And I wanted to share with you a few key things so Danny and I can have a conversation with you about what you need to know as a home service business owner. Okay? So today, let's talk about the things that your agency doesn't want you to know. Number one, clear standards. We think that digital marketing is a lot like witch doctors and voodoo. But when you have the definitive guide on how to do TikTok ads, which TikTok endorsed and even paid for, or when you have the number one book in marketing and PR, we're in this book, or we have the number one book on Facebook ads. We've sold 800,000 copies of this book. Dollar a Day is in here. This is all about dollar a day and optimizing. Or the number one book for professors on how to do PR. That establishes a clear standard. And a clear standard means that your agency should be sharing exactly what they're doing, how they're following that clear standard, and having the analytics against that. But the odds are they're not doing that. And so Danny has discovered that most agencies, whether they know it or not, they are a scam. Why is that?
Well, most agencies aren't looking at the data and the analytics. So once you actually go into your Google Analytics account and we go into a data tracker like Ahrefs, then we can easily see how many keywords you're ranking on, how many clicks you're getting, what other metrics you're getting. And then from there, we can diagnose how we can fix those metrics and make them as good as possible.
So we did an audit a couple days ago, and we looked at somebody who was paying $12,000 a month for SEO. And the agency claimed up and down that they were doing all this work. And we said, okay, show us. And they didn't want to share anything. So we used our tools. We didn't need their permission, but we could see exactly what keywords they're ranking for, how much traffic they were getting, what the competitors were doing, when they were ranking on maps, when they weren't, the power of the different links, the spam links. This one client, I think a competitor, we don't know who, was buying all these porn links to try to damage their site. And there's no way they would have known that. And the agency didn't know that. But if you don't know how to use these SEO tools, if you don't know how to look inside Google Search Console, which is Google's free SEO tool that they give us, how it ties with Google Analytics, then how would you as a home service business know this? What would you need to do?
Well, chances are they can't figure it out on their own. But luckily, we have a simple audit process that we can give you. So we walk you through every single problem that is in your website, your Google My Business, your social media accounts. And from there, we can tell you what needs to be done and how we can improve it.
That's actually not the most important thing, like review velocity and whether that ties back to your profiles and your citations is actually more important. The engagement, the quality of those reviews, Google, Facebook, Yelp, these guys can determine fake reviews. You know that, right? Then we look at your website. Does your website work properly on mobile versus desktop? Now, again, we're using standards. So we're using Google's standard on auditing your website on does it load properly? Does it have latency issues? Do you have too much JavaScript? These are easy things that we will point out for you, right? And then we're going to look at your SEO. We're going to look at your ads, and we're going to look at your social media. So all of these components fit together. And because there's a clear process on how to audit every one of these components, Danny and I are going to give you, based on your data, specific recommendations and things that are broken on your data. Then you can take that, do what you want with it. You can give it to your agency. You can give it to your son, maybe who's working on your marketing. You can have maybe us fix some of these things, but wouldn't it be awesome to see what's going on in your data and have experts like Danny and myself take a look? What would that be worth? Would that be nice to have? Looking at your data, not selling anything. Tommy Mello is doing this with us and a bunch of other guys, Ryan Davis, you name it, in home services. This is a framework that they follow. don't you want to follow the same framework that the other top home service businesses are actually doing? And see, how do you stack up? Yellow Pages or used car. And I just don't think that's the way to do that. Digital marketing is about data, and it should be more like a trained surgeon or a service provider like you. You have a clear process on how you kill ants, how you fix a garage door, on how you do a concrete floor. You have a process. Your people, your technicians are all trained in a certain way. And folks like Danny are trained in a certain way, just like you guys are trained. And like 99% of the agencies out there are scams. So I would like nothing more than to see folks like Danny win. And he wins because he's solving your problems and he's putting transparency there. So there's a clear process. For example, we have a whole process on how we do audits. We have a whole process on, look at this, on how this is our operations process. Good luck trying to see people like, oh, you're going to give away your secrets. Yeah, there are thousands and thousands of pages on exactly how our VAs set up project management, how we run ads, how we send reports out. Good luck trying to copy this kind of stuff. Good luck trying to hire thousands of VAs, right? So we publish everything that we know. And if you want to see what that audit process looks like, there'll be a link somewhere below and you can see exactly what we cover in a quick audit. And if you really want to have some fun, ask your agency how they're doing against the components of the quick audit. Have them do that quick audit and come back to you. And then come back to Danny and say, you know what? I'd like to see you guys go through this audit process and see how that compares with what the agency's saying. So Danny, why did you start Full Funnels? Because there's a zillion people that have started agencies. But I always want to question, why are they doing it? Are they doing it for the money, or is there a deeper reason?
I started Full Funnels because my dad was struggling with this flooring business. So he's been running it for 20 years, but yet he's been struggling to get clients. And that was really heartbreaking for me. And I wanted to find out why. So I had a quick look at his website, his SEO, his Google My Business. And I quickly realized that he's just not ranking on simple keywords and other SEO features. So I decided to learn SEO, to learn social media marketing, to drive more traffic for his business. And in doing so, I realized that some of his friends that are also running home service local businesses are experiencing the same problem, that they are not getting their marketing done well.
Yeah.
And they have been constantly getting burned by their previous marketing agencies. So I decided to help out him and his friends. And from there, I've realized that this is a huge problem all around. So I've decided to help out all local service home businesses to drive more traffic, get more leads, and get more clients.
Because the same problems that a flooring company in Glenview, Illinois has with ranking in local search results or doing local service ads is the same thing that a pest control company in Portland would have, or a garage door company in Los Angeles, because all service businesses are based on trust, based on having the category and geo alignment. So in SEO, if you want to rank on Portland ant exterminator, then there has to be a Portland signal for the geography, and then it has to be something around ants and exterminator or pest control or whatnot. So looking at your business, I'd look at the geo. Maybe it's Chicago, and maybe it is a flooring company. So we're trying to send the signal to the geo and the category. So every local service business to rank on SEO needs to have the geo and that category. So we have a process to be able to audit that. And this is the same thing I developed at Yahoo 25 plus years ago to see who actually deserves to rank in the search results. And the beauty is it's very easy to tell. We can tell you in 15 minutes. So I encourage you, come take a look at that, because if not, your competitors can basically steal from you. Your agencies are stealing from you because they're just saying whatever. And you're like, okay, I mean, I guess so. It's all this like magical, proprietary, secret stuff that, we can't tell you. We'd have to kill you to tell you or whatnot. But why not just make it plain? Make it super plain with these kinds of metrics. So I'm super proud of Danny. I'm super proud that he's here to help his dad, for example. And that naturally turned into a business because he started to get good at it. He found that he could follow these checklists and actually get the work done. And I love nothing more than to see Danny succeed, to see you succeed. And that means that's creating more jobs. That's hiring more of these VAs, right? We're not saying fire your agency. We're saying hold them accountable. 3 things I want you to know about. 3 rules that we must hold true, non-negotiable, like no ifs, ands, or buts. Number 1, you own all your accounts. So we've seen this happen so many times before. See if this is true with your agency. Do you actually own the code to your website? Do you actually own the hosting? Do you actually own the domain? Do you own the Google Ads account? Do you own the Google Analytics? Do you own the Google Tag Manager? Do you own the Facebook accounts? Do you actually own that? Or do they just give you some interface to take a look at that data? Because if you ever want to switch, you can't. And they'll play all these games and not give you access to this stuff. So you must own the underlying assets and accounts. Even Google and Facebook has said that agencies must do this, but even still, we see this garbage happening. There was one agency yesterday, I think their name is Odyssey, and I just outed them. And they're playing a game where they're charging one of our clients $26,000 a month, and they won't give access to these other pieces. So we know that that client's getting flim-flammed. So supposedly there's $26,000 of ad spend, or who knows, probably only like $5,000 of ad spend, and they're pocketing $20K a month, right? Because there's no accountability. You have to be able to audit the underlying account, right? So A, you own all the assets. Number 2, you as the client must own all the content, because in the modern world of social media and ranking in Google Maps, which includes YouTube and all these other components, all the AI-driven search, because of ChatGPT, Google's got to respond with Bard and whatnot. It starts with video first. So your technicians gathering videos, you as the owner, these clients, as the techs are going about installing garage doors and floors and whatnot, they've got to be collecting those videos. So you own that content creation and collection. The agency can process it, right? The VAs can process it, but the creation must come from you. ChatGPT has made it so that people can just generate lots and lots of seemingly good stuff, but that's called synthetic content, meaning it didn't start from a real story. And thus it's going to hurt you in the long run with Google, because everyone else is generating this fake kind of content that looks believable, but Google can tell because it doesn't have your experience and stories woven into it. That's the distinguishing factor. You're going to see people in 6 months talk about this. Third component is there needs to be a single point of contact. So for your company, you're probably too busy as the owner. Is there one person that you can make sure is on top of these little details, on access, on looking at the statistics, some kind of operations coordinator, maybe someone in your call center, someone who's in charge of managing the details, right? And like a COO, an integrator type person. And then someone like Danny, because he's currently small, so he would be your single point of contact. But that single point of contact on each side makes sure that stuff gets done. Make sure that we're looking at the stats weekly. Make sure that we have a clear plan and that we're addressing things as they occur. Because as we test, we're going to find certain things work, certain things don't work. So those are 3 rules I'd encourage you to apply. That you own all the assets. The content's being created by you. And there's a single point of contact on either side. You do those 3, you work with someone like Danny, and you're going to see digital marketing becomes night and day. It becomes completely accountable and visible. There's no more magic. You can clearly see the social media postings and the content and the ads and what you can clearly trace that to the calls, and then trace the calls into Service Titan or whatever CRM and seeing how many jobs you're getting booked, how much revenue you are generating. That is what we see in digital marketing. I'm so glad that there's a new breed of digital marketers that are doing things the right way according to a process where they're more focused on getting the results than they are on trying to sell you. So Danny, what words do you have to say for other home service business owners? What else do they need to know?
I think it's important to know that you have full transparency when it comes to working with your agency. So most agencies won't give you the data. They won't give you the metrics. And here at Full Funnels, I believe in complete transparency, and I will share with you all the data, all the metrics, and make sure that you know what's going on with your business and with your marketing.
There's something that no agency will talk about, but we're going to say it here because I want you to hear it. And that is, at some point, usually after 60 to 90 days, that client will say, we want to take this in-house or we want to fire the agency. Now, why would they do that? A, they're not happy with the results. All right, I've given you guys 3 months. You gave me all these promises, but then you disappeared and you promised that you're going to help me rank. You promised these reports, you promised whatever. And I got burned by the last 3 agencies making the same kind of promise. So that's the main reason. But number 2, which is a good reason, is when we put these processes in place, you're going to start to have internal staff that's processing. So the people that are talking to the customers on social media, the technicians you have that are going about doing these jobs, they become part of your marketing team because this is called UGC, user generated content. They're collecting all these different assets. So you're starting to build an internal marketing team. And then the agency can start building new things as your team starts to build more in-house capabilities. Folks like Danny and his people are building more things on top of that, right? So we're constantly building more capabilities, building initially by Danny, and then systematizing and operationally keeping that in-house. And that's what we want to see, because that's the efficiency that's necessary to succeed in modern digital marketing. Google and Facebook are trying to kill agencies. You know why?
Why? Because
they keep screwing things up and creating friction and overcharging. And then when there's not performance, then the agency blames Google. Oh, the cost per click has gone up and the algorithm changed. So the SEO, we lost the ranking on that one keyword. No, it's nonsense. The issue is the agency is incompetent. And Google especially is tired of being blamed by these agencies. And then the agencies play hide and go seek. So you can't come in and see how the campaigns are actually performing. So how can you blame Google if we can't come in and see what you're doing with the ad accounts? First thing I want to do is come in and look at the change history and see, have you made any changes the last 3 months? By the way, if you have access to the ad account, go in, log in to Google, go to the left side, go to change history and see who's made what change. Did they add keywords? Did they change the bids? Did they create a new ad? Was it some dude in India who doesn't speak English is making these changes while they're still billing you, whatever? Maybe they made a lot of, the first month they were with you, they made all these improvements and then they just sort of forgot about you is what usually happens, right? So number 1, come in and look at that change history. Number 2, as part of the audit, this is what we do in an audit, okay? We've done this thousands of times. Number 2 is we look at the quality scores of the campaigns. Do you have, at the keyword level is where quality score is being shown, do you have a lot of keywords that are quality score 6 and below? That's probably a problem. I bet you, and I'd love to actually verify it in your data, I bet you the bulk of your ads are quality score 4, 5, and anything that's 6 or below is a problem, right? I bet you that the keywords and ads that are driving the most conversions are actually brand terms, meaning your name. And so non-brand terms, I bet you your cost per acquisition, your cost per lead is going to be sky high to where the point it's ridiculous, like $1,000 per new client, which is never really going to work, right? It's just the math doesn't work on these things, or per call, right? The cost per new client's $3,000 on a $14,000 air conditioner. Like, it's just not going to work, right? So this is what happens when you have these kinds of clear processes.
Thank you, Dennis.
All right, guys, that's another edition of the Coach U Show. Let us know, what do you think?